Residential real estate. Residential real estate. To start off, let's first break this down into two words. I'm not going to do any more than that because this is quite self-explanatory. So I'm going to break this down into residential and real estate. Residential means basically where we live. Real estate is the land and the buildings on it, so pretty much property. Now that we have the breakdown, then we can just put it all together. So residential real estate would be land where people live. So there are three ways to participate in residential real estate. The first one is to own, then there's to rent to, and then to rent from. On the next slide, the next three slides, I'm going to break this down, what each of those means. When you own the real estate, the residential real estate, that means that exactly that. It just means you own it. You possess the title to the property. Now this means you could live there. It could be just a property you have sitting around. You own it. Now to go even further, breaks off a little bit from the last one. If you own a property, you can then rent it out. So if you're not living there, then you can have somebody come and they basically pay you X amount of dollars to live on the property that you own. And lastly, if you don't want to own it because it's too much of a hassle, you don't want to rent it out, then you have to have a place to live. So you sort of get stuck in this last category, which is rent from. So somebody else owns the property and then you pay them to live there. That was really simple, and so I'm going to keep it around that simple. Every one of those ways you can participate has its own pros and cons. If you own your own property, then you don't have to pay any rent. You own it, so basically the only things you have to worry about are utilities and any repairs or maintenance. The cons for this is, something breaks, you have to replace it. But also the startup cost is a bit expensive. You don't have to foot it all in the front, but if you get a mortgage, then you have to, and mortgage is the way people usually go when they buy when they buy this sort of large purchase anyways. But it's pretty costly. Houses are usually around 200,000 in the marketplace today. Now that depends on where you live, and they can go up or down based on your needs. So if you don't want to do that, if you don't have to worry about a mortgage, if you don't want to have to worry about so much of the maintenance or footing the bill for that, you can rent rent property from somebody, and this takes away all of that risk in, well, if the water heater goes out, you have to replace it. No, someone else is in charge of that. If it goes out, you just tell them. So it takes that out of it. You might still have to do yard work and stuff like that, but you don't have to do some of the bigger maintenance, more costly maintenance that goes in with owning the house. You don't risk losing your money if someone trashes the house. You can just move if you decide you don't like it. The cons are, if your landlord wants you out, the person renting to you wants you out, he can give you notice and you'll have to leave. Also, you're just paying somebody to live somewhere. Now, if you decide that you want to own your own property and you like owning your own property, you may decide to own multiple properties. When you do that, um, you have the ability to rent out your property, and then someone pays you to live there. The problem with that is you already are living one place, so you have to make sure that place is maintained, but then you have the responsibility of other places to maintain. And on top of that, if people destroy your property, then you have to fix it. Um, Otherwise, it's not bringing you in any money. You have property taxes to worry about. You have um, finding renters, all of that. And in short, this can be a very lucrative, very money-making opportunity if you are wise and take advantage of this. There's a little bit of luck into it because, well, most times you're going to be searching around for renters, and if you're lucky, you'll find good ones, and if you're not, then you'll find bad ones. Um, but if you have a good location and good renters, then this can be a relatively good way to make money, and you might even be able to retire early